All right, welcome back in here to Live Now from Fox. I am Andy Mack. Thank you so much for joining us. And really, this is the final Sunday without NFL football until mid-February. But obviously, at NFL stadiums around the league, the congregation will slowly be making their way into those stadiums as it all starts on Thursday night in Philadelphia as the reigning Super Bowl champs take on the Dallas Cowboys to kick off this NFL season. The Chiefs and Chargers are in Brazil, and then the full slate of games begins a little bit later on Sunday. Let's bring into the conversation right now here on Live Now from Fox, team chaplain, author, speaker Jesse Bradley. Jesse, thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. And I know football and faith have so many intersections and they're so intertwined. Can you take us through what's the level of excitement for you going into next week? What's your mindset, especially around all of the games?
It's a great combination, Andy, and thanks for covering this topic. I think a lot of us see after the game, the players are praying together, even different teams. They've competed, but now they're joining together in unity. Or you might see someone with a Bible verse below their eyes or a cross on their hand, and you hear about chaplains. You see, teams have chaplains, and franchises go there because they care about players on and off the field. Now, usually there's a service that's optional for players and then a chapel before the game, and that can be 10 or 15 minutes. And it's so key for players because a lot of times we look up to these athletes like they have it all together, but really they have injuries and tragedies and insecurities, and they have a safe place with a chaplain that's going to do life with them, that they can just open up their heart and be honest. And it's someone who doesn't want to take from them, but is offering, it's a resource for them. And some of those relationships are going to be lifelong friendships too.
Yeah, we talk about it, how important teamwork is in winning a Super Bowl and reaching the very highest pinnacle in terms of the NFL, that being a Super Bowl. How important is it in terms of bonding for a team to come together in that way?
There's a culture in every locker room, and I like to call it a championship culture. When there's belief, when there's connection together, when there's commitment, championships are won before you step on the field. And with faith, that's one way to unite, to encourage each other, to serve one another, to really care for each other. And when it's authentic and genuine, you're going to see it on the field. It makes a difference. Teams that are united, they have a mindset of we, not just me. And this culture is built through genuine love. And when there's friendships, at home, when there's friendships on the road, it just makes the whole experience so much better. And I play professional sports. I can say that firsthand, that faith makes a difference on and off the field.
Yeah, and obviously all of these players are at the top of their profession, but also they're very much humans. Can you take us through that, the contrast of being some of the best, being paid millions of dollars, but they go through, like you mentioned, some of the same insecurities that everyone goes through?
Andy, when it comes to my own story, I had success on the outside. I went to Dartmouth, so strong academically. I played soccer. We won Ivy League titles. And there's an outside story and an inside story for all of us. And on the outside, it looked like success, but on the inside, I had this emptiness. And I took a class, it was Introduction to World Religions. I wasn't seeking God, I was an atheist. But as the Bible was taught and I read it, I saw that this is a relationship with God, not religion. And this isn't striving and achieving, this is receiving something called grace. In America, our favorite spiritual song is Amazing Grace. Grace is undeserved love. And I'd say, Andy, for a lot of athletes, there's a performance-based identity, which isn't healthy. And there's a difference between who you are and what you do. And athletes receive so much attention and admiration. It's easy to, inflated, deflated, pride and shame based on, what have you done for me lately on the field? And when you discover a relationship with God, there's a security that goes deeper than the sport. And for me, instead of sports being number one, and I put a lot of pressure on myself. It kind of dropped to where it should be. It's a game. I play it. Great relationships. I enjoy it. And when you have a solid foundation, your house is on the rock, not the sand, then you can enter into life in so many different situations, including your sport, with just a different character, different focus, and a different joy.
And there's so many different words, different parts that really resonate with people in different forms of their life. But are there specific verses that you turn to when you're talking to an NFL player, when you're talking to a professional athlete, that really hit home?
Yes. Everyone deals with anxiety and fear. There's two kinds of stress. There's distress that weighs us down, and then there's eustress, which means we're excited. We need some adrenaline for the game. And for an athlete, you don't want to be too low with adrenaline, but you don't want to be overamped. And so how do you find that zone where you can play well? Now, anxiety is real for athletes because, injury is one factor. You got your contracts, it's your livelihood. And so perfect love drives out fear. There's another verse in the Bible that says, when we pray, do not be anxious, but come to God with thanksgiving, bring your request to God, and the peace of God, which transcends your mind and heart, it's going to protect you. In those times of stress, you're going to have a non-anxious presence. And then you're going to be able to use all your gifts and talents. So it's fun to both share something practical, like perfect love drives out fear. And I like a sentence that athletes can say during the game. And it might even be, eyes up, eyes on Jesus. And that reminder, when those thoughts come in of like, what if I mess up? I just blew the last play. What about the next play? You say, no, perfect love drives out fear. Let's go. Next play. Now I'm ready. And it's that resetting and renewing of the mind.
Yeah, and obviously that also kind of translates the football, eyes on the ball, get the ball, all those sorts of things that really obviously they overlap between the two. I want to ask you, because obviously everyone is striving to win football games, to make major contracts, do all of the things that they are put on this place to do so. In terms of your eyes and what you expect, what defines success for an NFL team, for an NFL player in a year?
That's right. It's a business. And you can't take that away. Yep. And there's also the ultimate goal is to win. And kind of one joke is, if I pray for both teams, am I praying for one team more, or how come one team loses? And sports will teach you about life. It teaches how to handle success and how to handle failure. Also, sports is about character. Sports reveals character. And ultimately, although winning is the goal and the initial and primary goal, yet there's a greater goal. When I think back of the relationships and friendships I had on the field, they continue today. And I think the more you're removed from your playing career, you realize the wins and losses, it goes up and down. It's nice to celebrate the championships, but it's the relationships that last. And really, sports teach us about life too. So for a lot of these athletes, what they're learning on the field is going to be obviously seen by everyone. I mean, it's a high profile vocation. How many of us would like that? But when you have what's happening off the field is so solid, you see it changes the way they care about team. They react to a bad call. All the adversity is going to be on the field. That's a given. But you always have a choice how you respond.
That is a very good point, very well said. And I love it that kind of sports obviously mirrors what happens in life, or the other way around, I guess I should say. But it's just so profound how it all happens. Jesse, any parting words? Obviously, the NFL season kicked off in just 4 days' time. Anything else that you'd like to add?
If you're curious about, and maybe you're an athlete, you're curious about faith, my career ended. I was fighting for my life for 1 year, 10 years to fully recover. And that's when I discovered hope. I didn't find hope until I lost it. And if you're feeling down, it's a hard season, you got injuries, you don't like the coach right now, listen, there's hope. If off the field, you're at a low point in life, there's hope. And the hope of Jesus is what transformed my life. It's personal. It's available to everyone. There's a relationship, not religion and rules. And you see the athletes, the NFL athletes, they're saying, I need God. They don't have it all together, and we're human. So we need each other. We need community. We need God's love. And just receive that hope. Don't be too hard on yourself. Sometimes athletes are, but instead receive that grace and that hope, and God never runs out of hope.
Yeah, and obviously everyone will be filled. The pews will be filled next Sunday. The altar that is the NFL Gridiron all gets underway. And it's great that you just kind of mentioned it, all of the kind of entanglement there between faith and football. They certainly go hand in hand. All right, Jesse, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Enjoy the season. We'll chat again soon.
That's right. Enjoy the football and, faith. Let's keep walking with it and build each other up.
All right, very good. I appreciate your time. Thanks again.